Hello, farmers, and welcome to another exciting episode of the harvest season. My name is Raschelle.
And my name is Al.
And we're here today to talk about farming games.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah.
And burritos.
Are we talking about burritos?
I mean, are we not talking about burritos?
We have a very exciting episode for everybody today, right?
We do. Very exciting.
Y'all already know this routine, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We're going to cover some feedback. We're going to go over what we've been playing. We're going to hit everybody's favorite section, the news, since I guess a lot of people get their news from us, which I was not expecting. And then we're going to cover a game. Back to the exciting usual routine of let's cover a game. We're going to cover, should we tell them this week?
Yeah, why not?
I'm never going to let myself live that down. We're going to be covering a classic old school Harvest Moon game called Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
/ A Wonderful Life Special Edition. / Another Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. We got some A+ feedback since our last episode. We got some iTunes reviews, which is the only one I know of where you give reviews. If there's other ones, please email us, and we'll talk about those too. So we have big thank yous to Dare Me Again and Karotha. Y'all are wonderful, and we love you. Thank you so much for the reviews.
We read them all, and we very much appreciate what you say.
They make me happy every single time. It's like I'm not screaming into the void at myself. So, and we got a couple of emails.
Yeah. Note that a couple, that's two emails.
2 whole emails. I'm so excited. Our first email is from Dan, who says, "Hey guys, gender neutral, just so you know, a really great gender neutral plural is y'all. It may sound silly, but it's wonderful. It's you all. The apostrophe is in front of the A, so it's Y apostrophe all, not YA apostrophe LL. I love this word. Basically just saying, thanks for your perspectives. You get the news from us. I feel a sudden pressure of like, oh wait, people actually care about the news from us. I was not expecting that when I started this podcast. But yeah, thank you very much for your email. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, the news thing is a funny one, right? Because obviously we've been doing this podcast now for over 6 months. And I guess that entire time I've basically been kind of submerged in making sure that I'm aware of all the news that's happening. But I can see why most people aren't. Like the big ones you hear about because like, you know, something happens with Stardew and every games website covers it. But let's be honest, you know, nobody's covering the small weekly dev updates from Snacko.
Which is disappointing, but whatever.
We'll get there one day.
We'll get there. I'm rooting for you, Snacko. I'm so excited for Snacko. True facts. I guess I just didn't expect us to be a news source for other people. Not that I necessarily had expectations at all when we started this, but I'm not screaming into the void. I am doing a service for some people.
Thank you for your email, Dan.
Thank you very much. Feel free to email again. And then we also got an email from Grant talking about in the last episode when we talked about Steam Linux support.
Yeah, it was basically saying that the way that we were talking about it made it sound like we were blaming Valve specifically for the lack of games that support Linux on Steam, which is fair. I think that it may well have come across like that, and that is fair. And it is true that obviously, you know, Steam have done the work to actually make sure that Steam is on Linux, and that is, you know, a big thing in and of itself. And to be fair, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of Valve's games themselves are playable on Linux, I think.
That sounds about right. I could pull it up, but I'm not going to.
It sounds about right, yeah. We'll go with that then. If not all of them, a large number of them are. So,
yeah.
You know, they are at least, you know, eating their own dog food and saying, look, we actually, you know, we care enough not just to put it on and make some money from people who also decide to do it, but they took the time to actually port the games when, realistically, it probably didn't increase sales of their games at all, if at all, not very much, because, most people will probably be like us and still have the games even if you can't play them on your Linux computer. It just makes it better.
Yeah, and I think because his point in particular was that usually whether or not something is Linux compatible rests more on like the game developer than on like the store itself, which is true. Steam did do work to get games more available on Linux and did a lot of work doing that, which I agree with 100%, and we probably should have mentioned. I think that probably where the confusion rests is a little bit, listening back to it, I think a little bit of my opinions on this matter got kind of jumbled together because I was tired and not good at thinking. Where like my entire thing is like as two very separate points. Point A was that Steam does that, yes, but it took them 8 years to do that, like 7 or 8 years. Not saying that they didn't do anything and that they shouldn't be praised for working on trying to make those games available, which was really cool that they did that. But it took them a long time to do that. And the point being that Epic may not have that, but they also haven't had 8 years to do that. So I'm not necessarily super angry about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the separate point of when games are not available on Steam Linux, I think, which may be the bigger point where the confusion happened. Not saying that it is Steam's responsibility for games not being on Linux, but just when they aren't, it is distressing because of the sense of exclusivity of not being able to have access to something. And that was like a separate point, which I didn't intend to sound like I blamed Steam for that. But I think that just got a little jumbled. So you're right. Thank you for emailing about that so we could clarify that. I really appreciate it. Keep emailing us. Feel free to email anytime. Never apologize for your rants or your emails. If you ever feel like apologizing because you think you're sending too long of an email, I once sent in an email to a podcast I really liked that was about 5,000 words. So you literally can't do worse than me. And if you do, I'll be impressed. Never feel bad. Never apologize. Send me literally all of your thoughts.
Yeah. And as ranty as you may well be, you will never be as petty as the guy I heard of my job before I joined there, who after he left a company sent 3 pages of complaints to a developer in the company saying how dreadful a developer they are. So you'll never be as petty as that.
So don't question yourself. Don't apologize. Just email us.
We want those opinions.
We do. Thank you so much for these emails. I think I've said this before, but it literally makes my day 1,000 times better every time we get an email. I get so excited.
Yeah, and seriously, things like this email are important as well, because sometimes things will come across differently from what we expect, and sometimes we will need to clarify things, and so please let us know when you think that we've said something that is unfair, and sometimes we might have meant it, and sometimes we won't have, and, we will get things wrong, and we will, say things that aren't quite worded correctly, because as has mentioned before, words are hard.
Call us in on our mistakes so that we can adjust and learn and do better.
Yeah.
Because isn't that the goal of human life, to just eternally be striving to do a little bit better every day?
Yes, for some of us.
This is not philosophy with Raschelle. Okay. So, Al.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. What have you been playing recently?
Well, I've been playing quite a lot, but it's not kind of the games I would normally play. So, I've been playing a little bit, and I stress a little bit of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. Like, very small amount. I really should have played this more with the fact that we were talking about this, but it's fine because Raschelle knows it more. I have been playing a lot of a game called Eggs Inc. Eggs Incorporated. Eggs Incorporated is a fantastic free-to-play mobile game where you have an egg farm. And it's one of these idle games where basically you're basically just button mashing to do specific things. And in this case, it's you press a button, and every time you press the button, you spawn an egg in your farm. And the idea is to get as many eggs as possible. And then as you spawn more eggs, they lay eggs, which you sell to make money. And then you can upgrade where you're storing the chickens and your transport, and you can pay for upgrades for the eggs to be worth more, and it escalates quite ridiculously. So the farm that I'm currently on, my eggs are worth £500 billion just now. And so I'm trying to get up to 250 octillion to get to the next farm. So it's quite ridiculous, and it doesn't require any skill whatsoever, but it's surprisingly fun to play.
Gotta love a good idle clicker.
Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time playing that one, and it's good fun. But the other thing, and I'm really excited to mention this, is that I have been playing Zombies Run.
What? Oh my god! Hold on. I'm just like almost choked on a blueberry. What? Tell me all about this.
Well, I just thought I'd try it out.
Yeah, how's it going? How far are you? Tell me everything. What are your thoughts?
Oh dear. I've literally done 2 missions, so I'm not very far in.
Okay, I know exactly how far in you are.
The reason that I've only done that is because I was trying to catch up on all my podcasts before I started it, because I was like, oh, I don't want to fall behind in my podcasts. And then I ran out of podcasts, and then I realized how it works, and it works a lot cleverer than I expected.
Oh, no.
And oh look, I can listen to podcasts at the same time. So
That's why.
for those who don't know, the way that it works is it's just a few short bursts in the time period that you say. So you say, like, I want to do a 30-minute workout, whatever. And then throughout that, there'll be, I think it's like 6 or 7, something like that, short, like 1 minute, maybe 2-minute clips with, you know, occasional, like, oh, you've just picked this up, or there's a zombie chasing you, these sorts of things. So actually, the majority of the time doing it, you're not hearing story. Because I guess that would be way too much story. But it's quite clever how it's done. I quite like it, because I was always fascinated with how do they let you choose the length of your workout. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I guess it makes sense because they have like a minimum. I think the minimum's 20 minutes, something like that.
Depending on how you adjust your settings, yes. And it actually varies from mission to mission, because what it does is that rather than adjusting a sort of essentially the length of the story you're listening to, the story's the same. It's just set clips that are usually somewhere in the like 45 seconds to a minute and a half range. There are some really longer ones as you get on occasionally, but not very often. I think the longest one I've seen is almost 5 minutes. But rather than adjusting those, because those are just set story, it just adjusts the time in between the clips.
Yeah.
When you're listening to podcasts.
Which if I'd realised, I probably would have started this earlier.
Oh no, ow. So here's my question for you.
Yeah.
You've done the first 2 missions, right?
Yes, I have.
First of all, are you doing zombie chases?
I didn't on the first one, but I did on the second one.
Cool.
That was stressful.
Yeah. I don't play with zombie chases anymore. Second of all, how do you feel about Sam?
I think so far, I think everything you've said about him is correct. He's I feel like he should be a lot more aware of what's happening based on clearly how much he sees, but he still seems so... What's the word you used to describe him again?
He's a little nerdy cinnamon roll.
A cinnamon roll, that's what it was, yes. I feel like he shouldn't really be based on what his job is. It doesn't really make any sense because, I don't know.
No, I understand. Okay, so here's some context. You're about 6 months into the zombie apocalypse at the start of this story, give or take. Sam is a cinnamon roll. You don't know a lot about Sam right now. He's a cinnamon roll, trust me. Keep me updated on your Sam feelings.
Okay.
So in a Slack I belong to for another podcast, I have gotten a number of people into this, and I just adore watching people's feelings about certain characters develop real time. It's like my favorite thing. Second question. How do you feel about Runner 8? Sarah Smith is her name.
Oh, something's going to happen there. Like, I feel like something bad's going to happen there. I don't trust her.
I'm so excited.
I obviously don't want to say too much on the podcast in case there's anyone listening who hasn't done it. And I'm only 2 episodes in, but there's still quite a lot. Like, you only meet her in the second mission, but I still feel like there's a lot you could spoil in that.
I think it's fair to talk about what happens in Mission 2. Spoilers for Zombies Run Mission 2, Season 1, Mission 2.
Yeah, okay, spoilers. I mean, I feel like look, if it was just a cough, they wouldn't have brought it up, right? She wouldn't. She's clearly not just got a cough.
Well, a cough is scary in a zombie apocalypse. First a cough, then a rattle, then a moan.
Yeah, that's my point, right? I don't, like, not because they wouldn't have brought it up, but I feel like the story is specifically putting it there. It's foreshadowing, right? Like, it's obvious that that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I love how she was like, because they just mentioned that bit, the cough, then the rattle, then the moan, and then she's like, and then she's like, she says, I'm just gonna turn off the radio now, and turns off the radio, and she says, it's just me and you, and I'm like, great, just what I wanted. Just me and you. Lovely. So yeah, no, I don't trust her.
I love this. I'm really interested to see how your opinions of these two characters in particular develop. So keep me updated.
I will. Don't you worry. I didn't want to say anything before the podcast because I needed your honest reaction to this.
You mean me, like, literally almost choking on a blueberry out of pure excitement?
Yep.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Could not have gone better.
I'm so excited. Please keep me updated.
Zombies Run podcasts. So, Raschelle, what have you been up to?
Well, let me tell you, I've been playing some Zombies Run. Unlike you, I am currently caught up with the ongoing Season 8. No spoilers, because I know I love getting spoilers. I know the Zombies Run fandom in particular is very, very picky about spoilers, which I can see why. So no spoilers. I'm just going to let you know there are a couple of characters in particular that when they are in danger, I become very anxious. I have been very anxious for all of Season 8. It's been real rough. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, dear.
I'm so excited about everything. I'm so excited. So I've been playing a lot of Zombies Run. What else have I been playing? I've been very mentally stressed out recently. So I've been playing a lot of like really easy, simple, relaxed games. Doing a lot of crafting mama. Doing a lot of... I started and finished the entirety of Picross S3 this past week. Because that's a game I play when I'm super anxious and stressed out, because it's easy to turn your brain off and just count squares.
Yeah.
I've been playing some Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak, which I'm super excited about. True story. This is one of my favorite video games of all time. It's so cute. It's a really old Game Boy Advance game. And when I went to NDK this past weekend, I actually, in the Artist Alley, someone was selling Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak keychains. And I was like through the roof excited about it. So like I had to play some.
Oh dear.
And I've been playing a little Doki Doki Literature Club. So that's been fun. So those are two entirely different categories of games, but that's what I've been playing.
Lots of farming games.
No farming games. True story. Okay, well here's the thing. True story. So part of the reason I've been playing super easy games recently is because my brain has not been functioning very well. And I literally, maybe about halfway through this past week, was like, I really, really want to play a farming game. And I went and I got out, actually, Harvest Moon, Tale of Two Towns, because I was like, I kind of want to play that one. That was fun. There was dialogue and stuff at the beginning, and my brain was like, hey, Raschelle, those are words on the screen. And I was like, cool, brain. What do they say? And my brain was like, oh. So at the point at which I couldn't read dialogue, I decided I needed to play something else. So that's why I haven't been playing farming games. Maybe this next week.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I have no such excuse. I just, life and job and kids and, the usual.
You played more than me.
So that's what we've been playing.
Woo! I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Woo.
Are we ready for everyone's favorite news?
Everyone's favorite news?
Yeah, not just anyone's mediocre news.
Or was that everyone's favorite, news?
No, this is the favorite news anyone has ever heard about anything ever. So...
Well, some of this may well be. You never know.
You never know. Let's talk about some of this. Who wants some news? I want some news. You want some news. We all want some news.
Yes.
First up, speaking of Harvest Moon games, We have Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, Merit News. There's going to be some new marriage candidates that we finally got to see, named Jennifer and Brandon. We know you're going to have 16 slots in your backpack. That's as many as in Animal Crossing.
Did it have 8 before, I believe? Was that?
I don't remember.
Well, all I'm going to say is Cher from Fogu sounded very excited that there were 2 sets of 8 in your backpack. So that makes me assume that there were 8 before. And we all know 16 is bigger than 8.
Mm-hmm. Which is great. Speaking of today's main topic, there's a character named Ruby in Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, who appeared in the little comic on the website, so you might actually get to see Ruby in this game, which wouldn't be new. We'll talk about that later. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this game to come out. We've also got Garden Story, which is coming spring of 2020 and finally has a publisher now.
It does, and that's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think up till now it was just kind of like vague, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
So spring 2020 is a much narrower window than at some point.
Mm-hmm. It's very cute. You play as like a little grape. Are you a little grape? It looks like a little grape. I'm choosing to believe you're a little grape.
I think it's a little grape, yeah.
This looks so cute. I'm very excited for this game.
I think it's been getting quite a lot of press as well. I've seen some large publications talking about it, so that's good.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them. We have Stranded Sales release information, October 2019, which is next month.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this in real time and not 35 years in the future. Imagine if we're around for 35 years and someone's like, oh, this is a good podcast, I'll start from the beginning. And they hit this and then they're like, next month, wow.
If you're listening to this in 2040, 50...
No one will be listening. The world will have ended.
If you're listening in 2054, then you probably can't play it because it's probably lost to the winds of time.
If you can, email us.
Yes, I will keep the email account running for the next 35 years just to prove a point.
Hey, you don't know. The world might not even end by then. There's a slim chance.
We will see.
So yeah, we'll soon be able to play Stranded Sales, which I think we've talked about a few times already.
We have, yeah. And that's coming to everything, basically. All of the systems.
Yeah. Do you want to do this next one? Because I know it's your favorite.
Sure. The Forager Combat update is in open beta, and the release is coming in a few weeks, so that's exciting. For those not aware of what updates are coming in the combat update, the main things are there's a new biome. So we talked about in our Forager episode, we talked about the 64 pieces of land you could buy, and they were in, I think it was 5 biomes. And so they spawn different enemies and different foraging things and stuff like that. So they're going to add a new one, which is called The Void. And this is interesting in that it's a procedurally generated endless world, which is exciting. It says you must defeat all enemies before the time runs out or you'll be teleported out. Defeating all the enemies in time will allow you to continue to the next level of the void. Each time you progress, enemies will become stronger and more diverse, but your rewards will increase as well. So, sounds like you can never complete the void, which is always fun. The other main things are there's an added hard mode, and there's improved menus and crafting. They look much nicer, and you might less accidentally craft things. And pets. Apparently.
Wait, pets?
Yeah, I've never seen anything about pets before this post, but apparently there are pets.
There are pets in Forager now?
There are apparently pets in Forager now. I mean, it doesn't really say much. It just says unlock your own personal pet through the new pet skill in the foraging branch. So there are pets.
Woo!
Apparently.
I love pets. We're going to talk about pets today.
Yeah.
We also got something I'm excited to play, Atomic Crops. It's coming to early access tomorrow. Tomorrow, when you hear this.
On the 5th of September.
Which is the day after this comes out. In case you're listening in 35 years, it's not tomorrow. It's tomorrow 35 years ago.
The 5th of September 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a 50% sale on it for the first day.
In the Epic Game Store.
And that's all we have to say about that.
Please.